Welcome to the live replay of our second live class for our Facebook group Canva Design Tribe. If you are watching this video and you have questions, you can leave those questions in the comments and I will respond to them as soon as I can. I will also leave some important links in the first pinned comment. All right, everyone. So we're going to get started now, and as people come in, they can just join in on our live class. First and foremost, I want to welcome you all here. This is our second live class in our large group. And unfortunately, Lucille couldn't be with us. Lucille, she's been a pretty busy bee. She is from South Africa, and she has her clip art business. She coaches people on how to start an Etsy business, how to create clip art and sell it on Etsy and start a business. And I'll be giving you a little bit more information on Lucille and how to get in touch with her and more information on Lucille. As far as I'm concerned, my name is Amy and I'm the person behind Easy as 123. I have a small digital shop where I have some products, and I'll be giving you some information on that as well as we move along into this session. I also have a smaller private group where I have some students. I go live regularly 2 to 4 times a month for my students. And right now at this time, because the weather is getting warmer in Canada, I'm only going live twice a month. But my students, I teach them what they want to know, and they really learn a lot from Canva because Canva can be really, really confusing to some people, especially with the new updates. My website is easy as 123ABC, and I'll be putting these links in our chat so that you can take note of them and take it away with you. There's also a section here on classes, and I don't want to spend too much time on my website and the links on my website. I'll just put them in the chat when I get a chance. But for now, we are going to jump right into Canva. I have got this design on my workspace right now, but I'm going to hop out onto the home page and just start from here. How many of you, and you can either put this in the chat or you can speak, and feel free to ask questions as we're moving along in this session. How many of you have and use Canva Pro? Do you find it challenging to learn? Okay, perfect. Okay, and I'm just putting in some of the information in the chat with regards to Lucille's website and her contact information, and now I'll put my information in there as well so you can take note of my digital shop and my website. And there's also a free beginner's guide if you want to take advantage of that. It's on my site, but I've put the link in the chat for you guys as well. Yes, yeah, they are definitely challenging. I think what happens is that the way I can describe Canva when I first started using it is I feel like it's like a candy shop. When you walk into a candy shop, um, everything is really, really overwhelming. You want to use everything, and then you use everything, and it kind of looks like a mess. So I'm going to start off here on the home screen. And with Canva's new interface, by the way, how many of you were able to uh, get the new interface? Or are you guys still on, are some of you still on the old interface of Canva?
I attended Canva Create, so I got the new ones while I was there.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so it's kind of a mixture. Some of you are on the new interface and some of you are on the old interface. I'll try and keep this as general as possible. So basically your home screen will look something like this. And all of your recent designs will be in here. You have the ability to star your favorite designs. And when you do, they'll appear here in this middle panel in here for you to quickly access. Although I don't think you can, like all of your star designs will be listed here. Some of them you'll still have to go over to your projects and find those star designs. In here will be different designs that you can, or like template designs that you can start. These can be blank, or when we click on them, we can, well, I think they're all blank actually. But if we go into custom, we can then search for certain sizes, or we can just create our own size. So, and in the units area, you can actually choose whether you want to use pixels, inches, millimeters, or centimeters. Now, unlike Word or Excel or PowerPoint, you cannot set this as a preference for the units of measurements. So if you have a preference for a units of measurement, you have to actually select it when you're creating your design as a custom size. Otherwise, it's going to default to pixels. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the home screen. I like to design with a YouTube thumbnail unless I'm creating something specific. Like I've just gotten into creating homemade cards. I find it really enjoyable to create these cards for my family. I don't sell them, I just create them for my family and when I have special events. So I'm really enjoying that. And when I create a card, I'll usually create it with the size like 5x7 times 2, because I'll have the cover page and then I'll have the page that's adjacent to the cover of the card. So I'm going to start off with a YouTube thumbnail. And we're going to start off with creating different text effects using native Canva. So I'm going to go ahead and add some text to my workspace. Before I continue on, do you guys have any questions?
Did I miss anything? I've been trying to get in.
Oh, I'm sorry, but no, you didn't miss anything. I just put a lot of stuff in the chat, a lot
Okay.
of text, and we're actually just getting started with our first text effect. So you're good.
Okay. I'll be back. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I am going to get started by putting some text on my workspace. If you've never used Canva before, to add text to your workspace, just come on over to your left sidebar and you're going to see an icon with the letter T on it. So that's where the text is. And in here are three different types of text and text fonts. They represent the heading, subheading, and body. If you don't have Canva Pro, then these will just be default options. If you have Canva Pro, these are or will be pulled from your brand kit, and you can actually define these if you like. You'll see that up here there's an edit button, and that's where you can go to edit the font, the color, if you will, and anything else. So I'm just going to click on my heading, and regardless of which text you place on your workspace, you can always edit it. It doesn't matter. These are just kind of quick text that you can place on your workspace that match your brand kit. So I've got some text here. And the other thing that I want you to take note of if you're new to Canva is that every time I select an element, whether it's my background, so right now I've got my background selected, or whether it's my text, this menu up here is going to change. And so sometimes a lot of people get confused because they see like color and they want to be able to change the color, but that option might not be available. So all of the options that are available on the menu will change according to what you have selected. So when I select the background again, I'm not going to get all of those options because the background, all we can really do is change the color of the background. So I can change that to hot pink. I can animate the background, and position is always going to be on any element that you choose. Basically, this is your position and layers tab. So when I click on position, my left panel is going to open and we're going to have access to our layers. Right now, we only have two things on our workspace. We have our background and we have our heading. And you notice that when I click on heading, that's now also selected my heading here. Okay, and as we continue to add elements on our workspace, this is going to increase with the number of elements that we have, and then we can navigate, we can move layers up, we can move layers down. Right now I've only got a heading. I really can't move that below my background because my background is my background. It's, we can't move anything behind the background. So I'm going to change this back to white. I've selected the color. It's opening up a panel. We're going to notice that we have a whole bunch of different options for our background. Down here, we have options for gradients. We have our default colors here. Over here, I have my brand colors. So if you have brand colors, they will show up here as well. I'm just going to change it back to white. And now my background has been changed back to white. If I want to change the text in my text box, I can just click in there. You can click in there as many times as it takes so that you get the cursor. Here's my cursor. I can just delete the text, and I'm going to, in here, type believe as the word that I want to use for my first text effect. For believe, I am going to come up to the top and I'm going to change the font. I'm going to change this font to a font called hell print. So I'm just going to search for it. Here it is right here. So this is the font called hell print. You're going to notice that this font has transparent areas in it so we can see the background. That's what these white speckles are. And I'm going to take a copy of this text. So I'll come up here to this floating menu for the text box. And I'm going to place this down here. I'm going to come back up to my first text. And I'm going to come to my font color, and I'm going to change the font color to that hot pink. Now, if I take this first text box, and what I want to do is I want to actually place it on top of believe. So, but it's disappeared behind my text. So again, over here is position and layers. I'm going to click on position and layers, and I'm going to grab that pink text and I'm going to move it up top on top of that black text. So now it's sitting on top. Sorry, just give me a sec. Now I'm going to switch things around a little bit. So I'm going to grab that pink text, and I'm going to actually put the black one on top. So now I've got the pink one underneath. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that pink text, and I'm going to come right up here to my floating menu, and I'm going to select effects. Effects are text effects. Well, I've got a text box selected, so that's what we're doing. We're doing text effects. And my left panel is going to open up, and I'm going to have a whole bunch of different options in terms of styles of text effects. Right now, I've got selected none. I'm going to come down to this one called outline. And I'm going to change the color of my outline to pink. And we can see now that the color, that pink color, if I move that up, we can see now that that pink has kind of weaved its way through that second text box. If I select this again, I'll get access to that effect that I've put on that text. So if I click off it, I'm outside of text effects, and I'm actually working on anything to do with the background. But as soon as I click back on the text, I've got those options again, and I know that I've got a text effect on that text because effects is highlighted in a light purple color. When I select this one, there's no highlight because I haven't applied a text effect to it. I hope that makes sense to you guys. But I'm going to place this back on top like that and layer it. And another thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab that top text box with believe that's in black. I'm going to make another copy. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go back into text effects, And I'm now gonna select the shadow option. And we can see that when we do that, it automatically defaults to this gray shadow that's right behind that top text layer. And these are two in one. So it's really one text box, but with that shadow. So when we move over to our left side again, so I've got that shadow style selected, we have a whole bunch of different options. And these options are similar when we move through these native text effects that we can use. Okay. I'm going to come down here to transparency, and I'm going to increase the transparency a little bit. Also notice that we can actually change the color of that shadow. We can change it to any color that we want. Okay, I'm going to put it back to black. Up on top of transparency, we have the ability to blur that shadow. So when I toggle this up, we can see that shadow is blurring more and more and more. I'm going to leave it like that. We can also change the direction of the shadow. So we can move it to the left, or we can have it on the right. We can move it to the top, and we can move it to the bottom. I'm going to leave it right there. And we also have an option for offset. And I'm going to bring that a little bit closer. Now let's see what happens when we take this text box and we put it underneath this word. So I'm going to grab this text box and move it down. And yes, it's not underneath it. So I now have to go to position and layers. And here's that text box. And now I can move it underneath that pink and black text box. So essentially we've got three text boxes, one layered, one on top of another. And my point in going through this exercise with you is just to let you know that you can layer text boxes one on top of another. And I'm going to take one more example of this. So I'll go back to this last, or the text box on the bottom. I just want to finish off with this before I show you another example. I'm going to go back into text effects. And now that we've got those three together, I'm just going to toggle the offset a little bit so that we can kind of see that shadow a little bit more. Okay, so there it is right there. I'm going to grab all of these. And if you're ever in a situation where you accidentally click on something and it moves and you didn't really want something to move, you can just group those items together. And now when you move one, you're moving all of them. To ungroup it, you can just come up here and you can just click ungroup. You can also go back to the position and layers tab, and we can see this icon here. That means that those items are grouped, and I can ungroup them from here as well. And that will separate them all so that they're all appearing in your layers tab in the order that they're layered from the most bottom layer to middle to top, and so on and so on. I'm going to do one more example of how we can layer text to create text effects, and then I'll open it up to a couple of questions, okay? So I am going to add some more text to my workspace. And in here, I'm going to type the word love. And I'm going to resize and make this a little bit bigger, like that. I'm going to take this text and I'm going to change the color. I'm going to make it a bright blue. I'm going to go into text effects and I'm going to use that hollow effect, that outline effect one more time. And I'm going to change it to that same color blue. We're also going to go into the letter spacing, and I'm going to increase the spacing in between the letters. So I'm just going to toggle that over to the right a little bit, like that. I'm going to take a copy of this text and I'll place it right on top. I'll go back into effects. And this time I'm going to choose the shadow effect. Okay, let me go back to position. I'm going to change the shadow for that top text to black. And I'm going to decrease the offset so that it's tighter around the O. I'm going to increase the blur just slightly. And I'll create or take another duplicate of that top text. And again, I'm going to layer it on top. I'll go back into effects. And I'm now going to change I'll keep everything the same, but I'll change the direction. So I'm going to change the direction of that shadow so that it's kind of appearing in the opposite. So it kind of looks like that text is popping out of the text on the bottom. So this is just a different way of layering text to create a text effect. Do you guys have any questions? I hope I didn't go too fast for you guys. We're good? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to move on. We're going to try out two different third-party apps that are in Canva that can help you create text effects. I know that a lot of people are missing that app called Text Maker. Unfortunately, it's no longer in Canva. The developer of the app has removed it from Canva. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into our elements section, and I'm going to place two backgrounds on my workspace. So these are two backgrounds that I want to use to create some text. And so the first app that I'm going to go into is called Font Studio. Now, Font Studio is similar to TextMaker app. So here it is, right here. This is what it looks like. Oh, and by the way, I did post something earlier this week with a list of third-party apps in Canva that you can use to create text effects. I'm just going to post that in the chat just in case you missed it. Okay, so that is the link to the Facebook post with the list of apps, third-party apps in Canva. Now, it's not a final list. There are probably another 10 to 20 apps, third-party apps in Canva that will help you create text as well. So that these are just a few third-party apps in Canva that will help you create text. So I'm going to continue here and I'm going to select Font Studio. Now, Font Studio is partially free, but it also has some premium features, just like TextMaker app did. So some designs are free and some you have to pay. Some fonts are free and some fonts you have to pay. I'm going to click Open. And this is what you're going to see when you open up the Font Studio. Now, you don't necessarily need to have the new Canva interface to access Font Studio, okay? You can access it now with the old version of Canva. Now, for this example, I'm going to use the sample called Outline. Now, it doesn't really matter which one you choose. You can do the similar things with all of these samples. You just have to add different projections, outlines, colors, and we can see here which ones are premium and which ones are free. So where you see premium, those are premium designs, and where you don't see anything, those are free to use, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and click Outline. And the first thing that we're gonna see is a sample of what our word is gonna look like when we're done. Now, below here, we have the option to add some text. In the text, I'm going to type in here glitter and gold. Okay, so and I'll leave it like that for now. I'm just going to move this to the side. I'll make these a lot smaller. And below our text, we can actually see that there are some font settings. We have the ability to change the font to anything that we want to change it to, so we can click that. Now, these fonts are exclusive to the app. So not all of the fonts that you see inside of Canva are going to be listed here. There might be similar ones, there might be ones that are different, and some might be missing altogether from the native Canva app. And you can see over here that some of them are premium fonts. So unless you have a premium account with Font Studio, you won't be able to use them. Now, I'm not an affiliate of Font Studio, so I'm not advertising this app. I'm just giving you options. I found this app to be really, really cool. For this example, I'm going to leave the font to Rubik. And below or to the side, we can see that we have the option to align the text. I guess if you have more than one line, so if I press enter here, I can choose whether I want the text justified, whether I want it left aligned, whether I want it centered, or whether I want it right justified. I'm going to leave it at center. On the side here, we have an option for letter spacing, line spacing, and we also have the option to either choose regular or italic. I'm going to leave it at italic for this example. Over here, there is an option for the letter fill. Right now it is set at white. I'm going to change the letter fill, or why don't we create a gradient? So I'm going to add this is my impulsiveness. So okay, let's do purple. So I'm going to move this up here and leave it like that. So now we have a gradient created by using the colors white and purple. We can choose the angle of that gradient, and we can choose the opacity. So if we decrease the opacity, what we're going to, or increase the opacity rather, what we're going to see is that bottom projection layer. That's what we're going to see, which is the color blue. So I'm going to increase it to there. There's an option underneath for special effects, and that is a premium feature. And here are the layers that we have. In addition to the letter and the letter fill, our first layer is outlined in black, and that's the black that is outlining the letters. The projection is blue, and then the outline of the projection is black, and that's that black all the way underneath. We can add another layer to the bottom. So we can add a shadow if we wanted to, and that's what that shadow would look like. Now there's also options here on the side where we can choose the opacity of the shadow. So if it was too much of a shadow, we could decrease that. And there are some other options here: shadow length, shadow blur, and shadow angle. I'm going to go ahead and add this design to our workspace so that we can take a closer look at what it looks like. So here it is right here. That's what it looks like when we use a gradient. If you want to use a white, you could go back and use a white. I'm going to duplicate this page. I'm going to delete that. And we're now going to use one. We're going to kind of repeat that, but I'm going to use this background right here. So I'm going to actually just change this slightly. And I'm going to put and. And I'm going to maybe change the font to, it's called Lilita 1. So that is the font settings. I'm going to come back over to these settings over on the side. And I'm going to increase the letter spacing a little bit. I'm going to come over to letter fill, and I'm going to garbage can that, and I'll just come back to the right side where it says image, and right now I've got this image selected. So I'm just going to click on image, And I'm going to come down here where it says use selected image because I've got that selected. But you can also choose an image from your computer if you had one on your computer that you wanted to use. I'm going to use this selected image. And that's what that would look like right there. And again, we've got our layers. So we have the option to make some customizations with our layers. For the projection color, I'm going to change it to a different color. So I'm just going to click on that blue and I'm going to come down here and just change it like that. And now we have, again, our outline, which is the outline color of that projection, and we have our shadow. Now, if you wanted to remove one of these layers, that's actually a good question. Oh, there it is, delete layer. So you would select the setting here and you would say delete layer. I'm going to add this to my workspace. So here it is. Now, so long as you're in this app, what you've created, your selections, they're not going to be destructive as in the way that you have to start all over again. They're still there, but when you make a change, you have to add that design back onto your workspace. As soon as you close the app, so if you tuck it back in, or if you come back in here and say remove from apps, then you're going to have to open up that app again, and you're going to have to start all over to design what you want to design. But it's no big deal. I think you can agree it goes pretty quickly to do this. So that's what this would look like with that glitter background and that 3D design. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay, I'm going to do one more design, and so I'm going to move along to a different app that's within Canva. It's called Typecraft. It is one of my favorite apps. And even though it's not that fancy, I think that Canva, this Typecraft app, can do a lot more. It's one of my favorite apps. So I'm going to create a new page here, and I'm going to come back up. Maybe I'm just going to close this. And in here, I'm going to type Typecraft. So this is what it looks like right here. As I mentioned, it's really not that fancy. It's pretty plain, but I feel like it's really, really powerful because you can stretch text any way you like, which makes for really, really some great designs. So similar to the Font Studio, we have a section where we can add our text. So for this text area, I'm going to type in all caps, Mom. And down below here, we're going to get a preview of what that text is going to look like. Similar to the other app, we have the option here to choose a font. And Typecraft is a free app to use. There are no premium features. And there are like hundreds and hundreds of different apps or different fonts that you can use. So I am going to come back up here, and I think I'll just choose this one right here. And that's the preview of what it would look like. Below The font, we have style, so we can choose no style. We can choose unfilled. And there's also the option for color. And we can also choose a fill with an outline. Now this might look black, but it's actually more of a gray. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make it black. What is it doing? Okay, there we go. And we can also choose the border width with outline. So here it's set at 1. I'm going to increase it just a little bit. Like that. And over here we have some mirror points. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stretch this text out a little bit. So I'm first going to stretch it out vertically. So I'll come here and I'll just stretch it out like that. And now I'm going to stretch it out horizontally. So I'll come here, I'll choose this point. Actually, I could have done that vertically as well, but oh well. And now I'll do this side here. And I'll add this to my workspace, just you can see what that looks like. So here it is right here. And again, while you have Typecraft open, your design is non-destructive. So you can go back in and make changes and you'll actually be changing this design right here. Now, I want you to take note here that this text box is square, but my letters are, you can see that they're not stretched evenly. So we can just go back in and I'm going to choose no mirror because I don't want the bottom to change. But I can just make a little bit of an adjustment there and that will change the top. I can also change the color if I wanted to. Now, if I wanted those two colors to be the same, I could just take a copy. Now, why would I want them to be the same? Maybe I want to make the letters thicker. So that might be one reason why I'd want to make them the same color. And so let me update that, and that's what that would look like with the finished product. So again, if I want to come back in here and add a black outline, I could do that as well. And that's what that would look like. So, you can make a nice design for mom and just put a photo in there if you wanted to. And we can create different designs with that. Now, one more thing I do want to show you is that we can take this design. Now this is, if I close this and come back to my workspace, I can't necessarily add a shadow to this text. The only option I have, and again, Typecraft is a way of creating text that is non-destructive. That means that if I go back and I want to edit it, it's going to open up the Typecraft app again, where I can make changes to this actual design. If we wanted to add a shadow to this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this so that I can create an image out of it. So I'm going to come here to download. I'm going to download this as transparent, and I only want page 4. So I'll say page 4, transparent, and I'll say done. and I'll download and create another page. Here's my design. I'm going to bring that back in here. Here it is. So now it's an image. And you're going to notice that the toolbar has changed. I no longer get an option to edit in Typecraft. I now get the image editor. Now, why would I want to do this? When you have an image, you're able to crop images and do other things with images. So I can take this, and if I wanted to, I could add a shadow to my image. So I can add a drop shadow if I wanted to. Let me make a copy of this. Okay, what just happened there? Yeah, I don't know why Typecraft opened. It's not like I can make a change to this. But let me go back into shadows and I'll just say none. And what another thing we can do is we can split the text so that we can write something nice in the middle. So let me show you. So I take a copy of that and I place them one on top of another. I can take one and crop it upwards. I can take the other one and crop it downwards to create a little bit of a space there. And then I can come back to text. I can add a little bit of text that says, I love you. And you can put that right in the middle there. And let's choose a nicer font for that. And we can also, actually, I don't like that font. Sorry, am I too picky? There. Here is a design that I created with my students last week. And for joining me today, I'm going to be sharing with you this template. So this is something that we can do. So this text was actually created with Typecraft. And then, like I showed you just a few moments ago, I downloaded it as an image and I brought it back into Canva. And then I just created 2 copies and I cropped each one in the opposite direction to create a little bit of space where we have some text with those curved lines. I'm going to put the link to the template in the chat. And do you guys have any questions?
Miss Amy, I'll put something in the chat.
All right, I'd love to get your feedback. What did you think of this live session? Do you guys want more?
Miss Amy, did you see my question in the chat?
Oh, question.
It's right before you
Oh,
posted
right,
the
right, okay. So is this the same app that can lay the text flat or position text at an angle? Oh, yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
So yeah, let me just grab that. Let's go back here. And let's go back up top to, I think this was it. Let me select edit. Okay, so yeah. So if I wanted to, I'm gonna just reset that shape. And so if I wanted to, okay. I'm gonna choose vertical there, but see how it kind of, yeah, you just have to play with it. But yeah, that's the one that does perspective. There are some other apps that do perspective as well. But it just needs a little bit of practice for you to actually, get those, to get it in the direction that you want. Yes. So, Crystal, yes, there will be a replay. It's going to be on my YouTube channel, and I will be posting the link sometime this week to the replay, just in case you miss something. Karen, thank you so very much. And if you guys are interested in joining my live classes regularly, you can just come to the website here and you can search under classes. All the information will be here on how to enroll and the days that I am going live. As I mentioned, I'm only going live twice a month for until June, and then during the months of July and August, there are no classes. And then in the fall, I'll be going live again twice a month, and in the winter, it'll be 4 times a month. And in terms of the large group and doing the free lives in the group, that will be more sparse because my commitment is more to my students in my private group. With regards to Lucille and her clip art, This is her website. She is sorry she couldn't make it today. And I've placed everything in the chat. I believe the chat and the chat history will be available even after we finish today. So you can always come back to the Teams link and to the chat and take a look at that. And if it's not there, just reach out to me and I will send you all of the links. Okay, you can reach me on Messenger, easy as 123 ABC. That is my handle. I'm in the group. You can message me anytime at all. Okay. I can see you guys are typing, so I want to give you a few minutes to ask any questions. Thanks for joining, Sherry. All right, guys. So in terms of a next live session for the large group that is free, probably will not have one for some time. So if you are interested in joining some lives, then you can join my classes, my paid classes. The information is in the chat. And I hope that you guys did enjoy this session. If you have any other questions, you can always reach out to me privately. And for now, I'm going to say bye-bye. Thanks for joining, guys.